We're going to talk about how to install a grip. I got some video for you on it, and we're going to talk about some previous builds and just about anything else we want to talk about in golf club repairs, reviews, fittings, etc. All next on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to the Mid Golf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats. I'm no different. And it's about what was in my drawers in the golf shop. And it's turned into a international discussion on golf clubs and golf club repairs, fittings, opinions, reviews, that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. All right, so what do? We had a busy week last week, a lot in the way of fittings. I fit a 72-year-old, that was unique, and then I fit somebody that was probably in his late 20s and had this massively high swing speed. He was about I got him up to about 118 with a driver, but he had this downward compression. But I got him in his irons and his wedges and his hybrids. I got him way out there. The driver is further, but once he learns to actually find the middle of the club face, because he's only been golfing for 2 years, he'll be 320 off the tee. Not quite yet, but he's working on it. Remember when I told you about the chiropractor from the Cincinnati, Kentucky area? He picked up his clubs, and then we talked about and those are those right there, ZX5s, and with the TZs in them. And so what we did is he came in and wanted to look at a wedge, and so we put together a wedge for him that he's going to get and kind of fit it into his set. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, while you're here, because he got these Jumbo Max, and being a chiropractor, this is his livelihood. And we were talking like he just really liked them when we did the fitting. I said, well, when you go from a standard size grip to something that big, it takes a little bit, and so let's see what we can do. And so we got him in there, and the very first shot he pured. I was like, well, look at that. He pured one. And and then he get, of course, and he became a golfer and tried to get a little bit more out of it, and would send one down, and finally decided to relax, and then ended up picking up even more. And when it was all said and done, he asked me what I thought about PXG, and I said, well, they're a fine club to be sure. I said, why? And he said, well, the feeling he just got out of these Srixons with the graphite and this far surpassed the PXG. So I was like, ooh, now that's saying something. I'm sure Mr. Parsons wouldn't like hearing that, but so that's his opinion, and very cool. That was really neat. So a little testament to the Srixon and and way to go. So, and as we're talking about the elderly guy, these are his irons. He ended up going with the Mizuno Hot Metals, and we put the 75 constant weight in them, and we got some star grips. We haven't done those for a while. Got some star grips and made them into a mid-size, and we made them bigger. I put 3 rolls of tape. He had bigger hands, and he liked the grip of the star grip, and they are pretty tacky. And I told him once you keep them clean, they get tacky-er, and he liked that part of it. So 2 up, half-inch short, and he was killing it. And so we got him into we finished him off with a driver fitting, and so we did the test between hybrids and fairway woods. And typically somebody that comes into a ball very, very steep doesn't like a fairway because they're naturally flatter. Now, when he gets to the 7 wood or the heaven wood, that might change, but in the bigger clubs, not so much. And you might find yourself hitting a 4 hybrid or even a 3 hybrid further than a fairway wood. And the dead giveaway here is, well, how do you hit your fairway wood? Well, when I do hit it, I hit it well. Well, when's that? And then it comes out, it's like 1 out of every 10 times. Well, that's not a good club to have in your bag. So, and they don't bend as easy as they used to anymore. So that's not going to be an option. And they don't adjust. A couple of them actually adjust upright. The Mizuno's got an upright adjustment, which probably would help. But outside of that, no. So there we go. So happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up for those of us in the States when we celebrate Thanksgiving. Give thanks to whoever that might be or whatever that might be. And we've been we celebrated at work. I have my sister Gabby and her husband Jeff here. And Jeff is the one that's been taking me down this rabbit hole of bourbon. And and we cook for them. So here's the first thing. We made this. This is the turkey. I did a smoked turkey breast, and it turned out pretty good. I'm real happy with it. But he's been schooling me in the ways of bourbon, and he brought this. A friend of his had this, and he brought this as a hey, because obviously I like golf stuff. And if you look, that's 1971. 1971, February 22 to 28th, 53rd PGA National Champion in Palm Beach, Florida. And, of course, the Golfers Association, right? And it's Jim Beam, and then there's the course on the back. This thing is really kind of cool. Obviously, it's not full, and that's too bad, but it's a neat little collector's item. So thank you to Jeff. All right. And as far as if you guys would like and subscribe, and that way we get more of these videos out, gets out to other people, gets seen by more folks, in order to help the algorithm get out there. Now, I didn't put one out last week because of the work and the Teach the Teacher. Now, the Teach the Teacher is going to be 3 volumes, and the first one was disassembly, and all I got is us taking one apart, Matt. So it was a good one, and the end stuff, not the beginning. So I talk about that in there so that it flows a little bit better. So it'll show up today, which was us doing that. Okay. So there we go. What we got coming is I've got a set of we're waiting on shafts and a set of heads. So I got another Mizuno hot metal set to put together. I got a set of Srixon ZX5s to put together. And I got another set of Srixon ZX7s to put together, and that's for Peter. And so we got a lot going on. We just got to get all the stuff together so we can finish it up. Outside of that, I am caught up. All righty. So as promised, and as we talked in the thing, we're going to talk about installing grips. All right. So when we install grips, and why do we install grips? Because it's one of the easiest things that we can do, right? It's for you can do it at the home. You can bring them here if you don't want to mess with them, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to take you through kind of a step-by-step on this, and then we'll go through. So this is new. This is a whole new other format. So hopefully you guys enjoy this particular part. So here we go. So this is me, and what you got to do here, we're going to make it go like this. So what I'm doing here is I am checking, and this is one of the things you have to do when you go to do something like this. You want to make sure it's going on the right stuff. So what you're looking at over there is the butt of the shaft versus the inside of the grip. And what you're looking for is, you see how I'm trying to roll it down, the inside the grip on every one of these grips, and all manufacturers, they're going to tell you exactly what the core is, right? It'll say 60 or 0.600 or 0.6 or something along that lines. Then there may or may not be a letter designator with an R, right? And you got to know who's given what grip's doing what. Like in particular, in Golf Pride, R means round, but in another company, R may mean ribbed. Okay, may mean ribbed, and so you got to know that going into it. So now you want to match cores with grips to get the standard size of whatever that grip's going to be. So if you're buying a standard men's grip and they match, it would be a standard men's size grip on the outside. If it was a mid-size grip, it would be a standard mid-size grip. Same thing for ladies, and so on and so forth. Okay, now if the butt section is bigger than the core and you go slide it on, it's going to place slightly larger. And it's about every 0.2-ish is where you're going to change the number or change the size. So if you got something really big and a core that's really small and it goes on, you very well may be making a mid-size out of it without having to add tape. That's the reason why I'm harping on this one, is because that's what we want to do. Now, once we've determined that, and you see this right here, is you want to mark the shaft. And the shaft, is you start from the rings of the shaft, you start from the rings of the grip on the butt section to the ring at the bottom. And what that does is give you a guide so that you don't go over the edge and have it sticking out the end, because that's just gross. And if you have it coming off the backside, you can always fold it in now, or twist it, as the case may be. Now, in this particular method, what I'm doing is I'm adding several rolls of tape. So what I don't want to do is have a whole bunch of tape on the very end, as it can add to the length. I don't want that. I want it to be as close to the edge as I can get. Now, it might be over a 30-second in which I'm just bending it over. Not a big deal, but I just don't want to keep folding it and doing all kinds of stuff like that. All right. And so what we're doing here is, you're seeing we're putting on this build-up tape, and this is the other question we get is, what do you use? Well, this is what I use. This is brown craft paper, brown craft packing tape, whatever you want to call it, but it's paper. It's not the vinyl or the plastic or any other stuff, and it's thicker. And we have found that by using this, you get a much better sizing. Now, if you notice here, what I did is, on the first layer, I started with the tape on the top and I curved around. On the second layer, I curved it up. And the whole idea here is to prevent a seam. Now, if you want a rib feeling, you just put them all down the same and watch them all curve and touch together, and you'll get this egg shape in order to make that happen. Okay. Now, the whole idea here is, when you see, you got to take a lot of time and a lot of effort for no wrinkles, right? No wrinkles. All right. We just put that little bit edge over the tape. But if you get a wrinkle, particularly in this grip we're getting ready to put on, a wrinkle will transmit right through it, and it'll feel like a lump. And you're like, well, why does that feel so funky? Well, that's why. All right. So this is what you see right there. And then we twist off the edge, and you want to cap off the edge, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But you don't need all that extra hangover. There you go. And away you go. Okay. So, and that's getting it ready to go. And then I'm showing you another marking, but I'm doing it in faster time, because what I did was I did it opposite the other way. So I started this way on the first one. Now I'm going to start this way on the second one. And in this particular instance, I took a different method of measuring the tape, and just measuring one and using it as a master versus using the grip. Okay. Man, you see me cutting the extra off there, so we don't have all that extra folding over right there. And I'm doing it in mock time here. Okay, so that's where we're at. So that you get that one. So you get that, and so now we've measured, right? We've measured the core and the shaft to make sure it's correct. We know how many rolls of tape we wanted, because we might make this oversized for this golfer. We measured to make sure it doesn't go over the edge. And the very last piece of tape, we twist or fold to cover up the end of the shaft. Now, why is that? Well, it would be my opinion. I kind of stumbled on this too, working with air. But when you apply the solvent, that makes the grip area easy to slide the grip on. But what happens when you go to push and you got your finger over there, it creates this air bubble in the grip, and it allows a little air surface to ride in there. If you don't do that, you're going to be fighting the tape. So let's go on to the next one. We go right here. So now what we're doing is, you see me, I'm aligning the grip so that when it looks down, since this has no markings on it, at least give it a sense of sameness. So when you look down on them from the grip side, they all look the same. You add a little bit of the solvent. You don't have to fill it all the way up, but at least about halfway. allow all the solvent to get on there, put your finger over the weep hole and push. And you're pushing with the back, not necessarily the front, because if you grab and tug, you have the capability of stretching the grip and making it smaller. All right, we don't want it to be smaller, we want it to be larger. And so what you do is you get that the front's a guide, the back is the motive force to make that happen. Then you wipe it down and take any of the extra dirt that might be on it. And this just goes through more of the same, where you get to see it come off. And what you're doing is you're just allowing it to drip into the drip pan so you can collect it and reuse it for later. And as opposed to, if you didn't want to, you could just do this over a trash can and then let it evaporate and you'd be good to go. Okay. And that's the end of that section. All right, so now that we've got them on, right? We've got them on. And now the one thing I didn't want to show you was, because Star Grip really promotes using air, okay? They really like you using air. And so what would you do in this case? Well, they say you can put it on a naked grip. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. If you were going to use air, I would use that blue painter's tape and put it on there just like I was one of those build-up pieces, and put that on there and then allow it to slide on there and set. Okay, that's just the way I would do it. Now, I didn't show it here, but what I did on the last two, because I wanted them all to feel the same. So what I did is I put the solvent on it, and I actually went and got an air gun and I went to slide it on. Zoop, it was straight on. Now, virtually no resistance because the solvent was on there. I just wanted to see how it would feel to slide on. And yeah, it would do it like that. Now, the reason why I did it again is I wanted all the grips to feel the same. Could I have used air on all of them? Yeah, but then I wouldn't have had that last layer of it. And the easiest, most common way of putting on grips anymore with the least amount of equipment is using the solvent method. Now, you could use you see me with a speed clamp and a big vise. They have a vise. You can use a regular vise and a vise clamp that doesn't cost more than a couple bucks. And you can do it one at a time if you're specifically doing it for you. And take your time and then let it fall into the trash can. And all of a sudden, you don't need all that extra stuff. But the idea here, these are the methods that can work. All righty. So the last bit is, now that we've got it all on, what do we do now? Well, we measure to make sure we did it correctly. So what we do is we take it, and if you look, that's the oversize, and that's what we were wanting right there where I'm pointing. And then that edge on the side is a measurement. You take it from I took it from the bottom of the cap, not necessarily the top of the cap, which is about a 1.5 to 2 inch measurement. And then what you do is you use that gauge to slide on to make sure that it is what it is. And then that way you have a way to remove to ensure that all the other grips are the same way. So you can get one that, like, hey, this one feels really big or really small, in order to make that happen. All righty, so there you go. That was the new way of doing it. I didn't add any sound. I figure we'll crawl, walk, run on this one, and we'll go from there. So let's go answer some questions. All righty. All the way to the top. All right, we got Matt. There were no rounds this with the new set. You're getting chicken, Matt. Question: what part of your game are you thankful for? I'm thankful for my wedges and the fact that my equipment fits me. Cheers, everyone. What am I thankful for? Well, obviously, thankful for Mrs. McGolf puts up with me for all this crazy stuff that we do here. But honestly, I'm thankful for being able to talk with you guys and do this YouTube thing. It's actually kind of fun. From an equipment perspective, being able to see all the new stuff that's coming out and making my choice for the bag for 2024, that's going to be fun. So taking it into that consideration, I'll bleed off onto it. Talking with the Callaway guy, got to see the new one. I think I can. It's going to be called Paradigm Smoke, and a neat look. The one thing I will tell you is that if you guys, without going too far into it, If you like what the Paradigm was doing, but you didn't like the price tag that it afforded there, you will like these next set of irons. Let's leave it at that. All right. Manual, sir. Jim Ron, the rest of the disciples, does this on the Acura website mean much? And he goes, all frequencies on the Acura website are measured with shafts at blank length using different chuck weights to correlate to the club head, and that each head would be used with. Well, so what that is, Emmanuel, is for club makers. So when they mean a different chuck, what they're talking about is the irons get one chuck, the wedges get one chuck, the woods get one chuck, the hybrids get one chuck, and so on. For whatever that shaft designator is, not different heads per se, but the where they're at. Now the ones with the discrete links, now that one I'm not sure of, but I would imagine it's probably the same. Now what the rest of that is so it's what they want. Let's just assume they're all 40-inch blanks. And so what they're doing is they're measuring so that when they ship them to you, that you don't get one that's wildly out of spec or wildly, off the rest of them. And that's their idea of QA. Also, if you really wanted to look into it, you could also, specifically if we're all talking about butt frequency, that if you knew that was that number, then you would know where you could trim in order to get up to something higher. Hello, Jim, Robin, everyone. We're hosting the George Holiday Jr. Golf Tournament this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Myrtle Beach National. It's a great juniors tournament, 50-plus years. Well, you go, man. Very good. Nice. Like to see that. Glad the juniors get a little something. He was also... he's reading a post on the Wishon website, and Tom said that he will no longer design his irons and wedges with more than two. He will no longer design his irons and wedges with 2 millimeter. I'm going to say, does that make those the clubs more playable than the ones with more offset? Well, when you're talking about offset, John, one of the ideas is that the more offset makes it more playable. And to the middle of the road golfer, that's probably very, very, in fact, it's not probably, it is. It's very, very true. Because the average golfer, the golfer in the middle, normally fades the ball, can't get the club close. So that's offset allows you to do that. Now, if you're a player and you're overcooking the ball and you're hooking it or doing whatever, then added offset is a bad thing, regardless of your skill set. And so you got to take that into consideration. Camden Barnett. Well, hello there. It's Butch. Okay. How you doing, buddy? All righty. Manuel, I would interpret that to mean that the chuck weights will be used in the same head weight for that particular shaft. There you go, buddy. Look at you changing your icon. Glenfiddich 15, buddy. Hello, Jim Robin. Peter got in 3 rounds at Myrtle Beach at 76, 73, and 75. He's killing it. Well done. Did you get the chance to play the tall putter? All righty. Matt saying hi to Charles. No play, huh? Yeah, you fondled him. I'm sure. Matt saying awesome to Peter's score. I would say the same. There's Jason. What do you say, man? Good evening, Jim Robin. Since we're talking grip installations, do you have any tips for keeping the tape smooth? I have an awful time with strips. Does the roll of tape make it easier? Well, for me, it does. So what Jason's talking about here is you can buy grip tape in a roll, and they're in a roll, or they come in strips, and the strips are like 11 inches long. And now the tape can come in a 2-inch wide, or it can come in a 3/4 inch wide. The 3/4 inch wide would allow you to spiral all the way down. Now, I've cheated that and done, pardon me, and started at the bottom by where that line would be, come all the way up, come over, and come all the way down and nip it off, and it works pretty good too, except for your grip doesn't get exactly round. If you put a bunch of those layers on, it turns into an oval. You're not really allowed, nobody's going to notice it unless they grip it, but it feels awful. All right, so what he's talking about is it's a double back thing, and you got to peel it off, and normally got to kind of prick at the end of it in order to get it to move, because it's really attached to this backing very, very well. And if you go to pull it off, and it goes to, and you pull it off, and it goes to swing, it can touch itself, touch your arm, touch something, and all of a sudden it's really, really sticky, and you can get that there. And the reason why I know that is because it happened to me when we've done that. So personally, Jason, I like the roll because of how you just saw it. You pull it off, you cut it off, and you lay it on there. Now, as far as, that part of it getting wrinkly, that's fine. Now, when you go to put it on the shaft, I pull it a little bit tight. I don't, not super tight, but enough tight so that there's tension on the tape, and I lay it on top of there so that you start with a nice smooth platform either on top or on bottom. And then you just take a whole hand, and I know you got a big old paw. Just take it, and what you do is you kind of roll it over and then smooth it out. Roll it over, smooth it out. Now, on the brown tape, what you saw, I was able to work it all the way around so that I can really get rid of that wrinkle. On the double-sided tape, it's wanting to stick, and it wants to stick at your hand. So you can either take it and pull it and drape it over, take it and pull it and drape it over, and then smooth it out. But those are the best ways I've seen it. Charlie says, good rounds to Peter, and of course they were. He's only hit the 2-iron. Should take them out on Wednesday and Friday. Very cool. This sounds like this is going to be fun. All righty. Travis K. Hello, Jim. When you travel, have you used ship sticks, or do you take them on the plane with you? I take them on the plane with me, Travis. I've not heard anything bad about ship sticks, and it would seem to be very, very convenient. It might be a little bit more, but obviously, me being a lefty, I take my stuff with me, and I have a travel bag made by Sun Mountain, and it's the one with the legs, so you can pull it around, so it's not such a pain in the butt. It's a little heavier because of those wheels, but the convenience is just, it pays off dividends huge going through large airports and whatnot. And to date, and I have flown overseas twice, and I've flown to Florida numerous times, and to California, and so far so good. Knocking on wood. That nothing's broke. Now, ship sticks, I don't know their full process, whether they supply you the box or you got to give them a tour, something to put the clubs in or what, and then tell them when it's going to be there, that kind of thing. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that nobody's complaining about it either, so it must be okay. And it certainly, the convenience factor for not having to worry about it, you just get your suitcase and you roll. That has a plus value as well. TJ, hello everyone, and Jim and Robin, the McGolf fans. There's Mr. Moody. How are you, sir? There's Charlie. What's he saying? Yeah, no kidding, right? Oh, that was funny. There's Krister from a snowy Sweden. I saw you practicing your takeaway. That takeaway, and then curving it back. I saw that practicing in the house with headphones on. Were you listening to something in particular, or was that just to keep your concentration going? Manual update on the wedge goal for next year. I put a Fujikuri Axiom Velocore 105 in the Vokey. My dispersion is tighter, working on distance with the 3 swings. There you go. That Axiom shaft's no joke, man. It's pretty nice. Krister. Last week I got the new T200s, and all right. So now you got to go to the simulator and tell us how they worked, because obviously swinging outdoors is going to be problematic with snow all over the ground. Be interested in to hear how it goes. Happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. Good night, Michael. That, you know what? That is the thing. I'm really trying to relegate not going back for seconds. Not done a very good job, but I'm trying to relegate that one out. And now we're into, of course, we're into the dreaded leftovers. Oh my. That's just what I was going to ask, Charlie. Manuel said he shot a 79 last week. Tomorrow's another round. All right. Tomorrow's supposed to be rainy as all get out over here. I don't know what it's going to look like on the weekend. Krister, he got his first lesson of many last week. I have my second lesson this Friday. First lesson, I got the preset drill that Faldo used back in the day. Think he got it from Ledbetter. Well, weren't they connected at one time? I saw that. Oh, that's what that preset is. Okay, that makes sense. Very well done. Michael Ocean, have you tried the Ventus TR Black 5S? Does it compare to the regular Ventus Black 6S? Okay, so in the drive, Michael, in the driver, the TR is basically stiffer. It may not be stiffer, but the whole profile itself is stiffer in the TR. So what they do is they break it down and you can go onto the website. It gives you the numbers and how it does that. And in a lot of cases, the TR will probably be stiffer in the tip and in the mid and probably equal in the butt on most occasions. Now that's how it goes. So the 5S is just a weight thing versus the 6S. And that's really what the difference is. Now, the Ventus Black and regular S, if you would compare them, would play just a tad softer and maybe throw the ball maybe just a tad higher. But we're very small in the comparisons. So if you like the lighter club and you're a pretty aggressive swinger, then chances are you probably like the TR. Yes. Krister says, yep, he swung them. They feel amazing, and you know when you pure it. All right. Danny Freeman. In a set of one length clubs, is it really simple to replace shafts? They're all 7-iron length. Would there be any flowing? Well, Danny, it depends on replacing the shaft should be fairly easy. I mean, it's a standard replacement shaft regardless of whatever, right? You can trim and fit and do all that other stuff. Flowing depends on who you take it to, right? Most people don't do that. All right, they don't believe that it adds enough for them to warrant the extra time spent on the shaft. I, on the other hand, if you're not label sensitive and you're not using taper tips, I would use it on. But if you're not label sensitive, then we tend to do it on all of them anyway. So it's purely up on what you want to have done. Is it a requirement? No, not for installation. If they were all done that way, then yeah, you might want it done again. All right, was going to a great game with 39 in the front, then the chain got off and ended up with 49 on the back. Yeah, I feel your pain on that one, Michael. And here's Charlie doing the same thing. 38 and 47 with a quad and a triple. There you are. Callaway has a double dash fairway adapter to flatten fairway woods. Yes, they do. They also, I don't know if they have the red and the green in fairway. I don't think so, but they got them in the driver. And I believe the red one flattens and the green one strengthens. Alrighty. TJ lofted his 7 wood, 2.5 degrees up, which I think makes it flatter with their hosel. Usually always hitting off the heel of my woods and started to find the center with it flatter. Well, if you added loft, it didn't do anything to the lie angle. If you're saying that you lofted it up and you made it go 1.5 degrees up, that would make it upright. Depends on. Oh, you're talking about adjustments. Okay, I get you now. For the adjustable club, I thought we were talking about just pure bending. With the way that it rotates, if you're going to add loft, in most cases, I would think that it's going to go, you're going to add loft, the club's going to go closer, and it might actually go upright a little bit. At least that's what I've seen. Now, PXG could be different, but if you're hitting it better, that's the bonus right there. Jason says, make some bourbon glazed sweet taters. Use Maker's Mark. You won't regret it if you're a sweet potato and a bourbon fan. Well, I am a sweet potato fan. Mrs. McGolf made some outstanding sweet potatoes this time around. Kind of by accident, she put some marshmallows on the top, and I said, just heat it up so it'll melt them down. Well, she put it on broil, and it cooked the top like you were cooking marshmallows on the fire. It's actually pretty good. It was really good. All righty. Bill Nauman, how are you, sir? Thanksgiving to you too. Andrew K, happy Thanksgiving to everybody from Andrew, and same to you. It depends on how much you like Maker's Mark. Like I said, I'm being taken down this bourbon rabbit hole, and when we get back from our vacation for our anniversary, we'll just see. I probably am going to have to build a monster shelf to put everything on. Emmanuel, well, thank you so very much, sir. I appreciate it very much. That is always a pleasure. Joel, hey Jim, Robin, everyone that played my first round of golf ever in over a year and a half this weekend. Amazing how that long off and health issues can impact your game. Good to be back there. Well, good for you, man. Glad to see it. Absolutely glad to see you're back. And now don't rush into it. If you had health problems, just make sure you stay healthy, and then that way you can play golf longer, right? Peter, gee, Merry Christmas, Peter. Thank you so very much. That is significantly cool and awesome. Thank you. Again, guys, I appreciate it. I really do. That is very, very nice. So thank you. Emmanuel saying hi. Danny Freeman. I saw where it sold a bottle of Macallan 76 for 2.7 on auctions. You know, that was what my brother-in-law says. Oh, yeah, it's a quick 2.7 mil for a bottle of scotch. Why not? And Macallan. Oh my gosh. 2.7 million. What are you gonna do with that? You're not gonna drink that for 2.7. I mean, come on, really? Oh my goodness. Peters, I'm thankful that Anna and I know you and Robin. Well, you tell Anna hi for us too. She was just a treat to be around. And for you too, Peter. Dan, Rick, here's 10. Thanks in advance for the wedge build. All right, partner, I appreciate it. Thank you again. Guys, I really do appreciate it. One more. Is there a bug difference in GolfWorks solvent red naphtha label or green label non-naphtha? Not that I'm aware of, but I don't use the naphtha, Emmanuel. I use the grip solvent that comes from the Florida Chemical Company, so it has that citrus smell. The GolfWorks red naphtha label or green? I don't know. Honestly, I've never used either one. And if you're getting naphtha, I mean, it's probably a bit cheaper to go to the local Home Depot and get some, but I'm not sure of that one. Brian Roberts, how are you, sir? Glad to see you make it on. It's been a while. Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you, and thank you very much. Jason Charles, no, it only takes a couple of shots. Plenty of left for funsies. There you go. Oh, that's good. Robin's like, well, your heads arrived today, missing a gap wedge, but we'll get them started this week. She's already all over me, man. We got them. There we go. Hi, Robin. Hi, Robin. Who is John C? I don't know. Maybe she's fat-fingered one. Jerry Cameron, unsure whether to go 3-wood, 5-wood utility iron or Callaway hybrids. What would be better? I'm going to say that's better. Oh, determining factors. Here's the other one, determining factors. Okay, so if you're unsure to where go to a 3-wood, 5-wood utility iron or the U-woods versus hybrids, what would be the determining factor? Well, the first one for me, Jerry, is how you're swinging, right? And what I mean by that is your swing plane flatter or more upright? And what I mean from that is, if you're coming from here and your motion is down like this, for instance, you play your irons way better than you ever thought about playing your woods, meaning you have more of an iron swing. Then I would stay in the hybrid category. If your swing was a little flatter, say for instance, you play your irons maybe a degree or two flatter, then your 3-wood or even the 5 Callaway's U-wood would actually come out and play with that. The Callaway U-wood is actually the really kind of cool combination of the fairway wood and the hybrid, in that the head's a little bit bigger, it's a little flatter, and just a hair longer. So, and you get all that tech that Callaway puts into it. Now, if if you can adapt and throw it through, then the 3-wood, as long as you can, the big thing is finding the face and not getting into it when you come into it like this. If you're going to come into it with a 3-wood like that, chances are you're not going to like it, because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get a goose egg up in here. What you're really wanting is to be able to come through. So this is the U-wood, and you see how that's a flatter lie angle right there. But in most hybrids, it'll probably be like that. In most woods, it'll be here or even maybe a tad bit flatter. So that would be the determining portion right there, because the aggressiveness of your swing, all that can be handled by a shaft, and the grip is always going to be your grip. So it really comes down to marrying up the swing with the head. Everything else should already have been figured out. That's, if you're swinging around, you've been out golfing, and you take a divot with a 3-wood, chances are that's not the right one. And I would go with either the utility wood or the other one. Now, utility irons, I don't see a lot of use in utility irons per se, unless you're just an amazing ball striker, and because the other ones are just far too easy to hit. All right. Hello, McGolfers. Hello, McGolfers. Happy and safe Thanksgiving. Same to you guys. What we really need to do is, if you guys are out there cooking, some of the safety tips that are out there for cooking turkeys, right? You see these guys, there's always somebody out there it's going to happen to. Don't be that guy. When they go to deep fry turkey, there's a fire to be had somewhere. So, in the day, they were actually trying to deep fry in the inside of their house. I don't know why we would do that, but somebody does that. The other part is make sure that is thawed out completely, because that damn turkey will turn into a bomb. We do not want that either, because when it explodes, it'll throw hot grease everywhere, and you'll be paying for that for the rest of your life. So read the instructions, have some, put some mitts on, put a apron on or something to help you out, and use that lid as a shield and go from there. What's this? Paul Peters. Holy smokes, this guy looks like his voice is putting his face to sleep. Okay, whatever that means. Well, then go get him if you're going to keep listening. All right. Apologies, Robin. Thought you were misspelling my name. Oh, okay, no problem. Ryan Crow. Hello, Jim and Robin. I'm a fair weather golfer, so it's simulator season for me. No problem. I recently got an ace on a 155 par 3, so it's a simulator ace. Is a simulator ace still an ace or not? Don't know how I feel about it. Well, you know, you could say it's a simulated ace. You could say it's a simulated ace. I don't know about that one either. I mean, how would it put in there? I guess it would just depend on how the program itself was set before I'd have to give advice. So in a lot of simulators, you can do air temperature, wind speeds, elevations, and difficulty of the way that you want it to play, right? So if you've got it set on super easy with nothing going on, I'd say, well, if you've played in those conditions a lot, then okay. But hey, celebrate the ace. Did you the real test of the ace, Ryan, is did you have to buy everybody in the simulator around when you did it? If you bought everybody around in the from the simulator when you did it, then I'd call it a real one. There you go. I'm late to the party, da 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 da. Boy, this Paul, man, he's got a bad attitude, don't he? Let's do this. Well, let's do this. Can't do that either. Alrighty. Why can't I do that? There we go. We'll just hide him. There it is. Boom. All right. An interesting question. No kidding. It is a good one. I thought it would be a good one to debate. Yeah. Well, you know what? Again, you could go either way, or you could argue that one either way, right? Uh, but again, if you paid for it, then I call it a real one. All righty. Had a client yesterday request I bend a TM Spider and an Odyssey Tri-Hot to 16 degrees loft and add extensions with a 21 to make it lean lock putter. Sketchy, but it worked. Yeah, well, the Tri-Hot should be able to move. The TM Spider, if it's on the post, yeah. But yeah, you're right. That's a lot of bending, 12 degrees or even 14 degrees. Not bad. Oh, Jason's jumping in on this. A simularis means you buy everyone a beer or a non-alcoholic cocktail. There you go. Peter said he used that tall one for 3 rounds. However, before I did, I had practice with it 3 days, 1-hour sessions. All right. So it sounds like it is working. 2 iron. Aha! There you go. I know what you're doing there. Neighbor brought out a set of irons last week to be reshafted from graphite. First time pulling graphite and went well. Thank you for the tips. Well, Terry, you're more than welcome. Glad it worked out. That would have saved me money at least. Yeah, no doubt. All righty. Brendan, if choosing between I-95s or I-110, is it better to go lighter or heavier? Both feel pretty much the same, to be honest. Oh, well, if you're pretty much at the same place with them, Brendan, the 110 would probably be a little bit more, uh, you'd be a little bit, your dispersion might be just a skosh tighter, where the 95, probably gain you a little club head speed. And if your dispersion's already tight, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would think that the 95 would play a little softer as far as profiles go instead of the 110 steel fiber. So I would just go with that. But if you like the heavier feel, like if you're quick tempoed out, uh, if you're quick tempoed out, then I would go with the heavier one. If you're the average swing speed or you're something along a little bit less than that, then I would go the other way. All right, here we go. And Garrett Clemens says, "Hey Jim, how are you, buddy? Good to hear you." Yeah, this guy's just. And let's do this. He's gone again. All right, Peter. My clubs always travel with me, and now I'm able to track my clubs so the stress factor is less, and cross my fingers no clubs are broken. There we go. There's Mr. Sandrin. How are you, buddy? Hey, Manuel, did you have to sand the Fuji tip to fit the Voki hosel? That the Voki hosel is taper and the Fuji is parallel. You would be correct, and probably he did. Let's find out. There's Robin talking to everybody. There's Ron G. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And same to you, Mr. Ron. There's Krister. I got shorter legs and longer arms, monkey arms, so should I play a shorter driver? You'll probably end up doing it, Krister, unless you really, really flatten out the swing. It was a cool 27 here in Maine, no golf till spring. Yeah, 27 would stop me, that's for sure. There's Ted. Ted Sulich. What do you say, man? Thinking about getting a putter fitting. What should I look for in a putter fitter? Well, there's several ways to go about a putter fitting. Okay, and I'm probably the worst one to talk to when it comes to this stuff with this one. But when it comes to putting, the idea is, does the ball get in the hole? Okay, that's number one. If the ball don't get in the hole, it doesn't matter what kind of fitting there ever has been. However, in order to get the ball in the hole, you have to be able to see the line. And you can't see the line if you're not addressing the ball in a proper way. Now, there is no one proper way, like there's no one proper way to stand up to the ball and go. Some people bend over more, some people stand up, and it's all based on their body make, right? And so the idea here is to get you to a spot to where your eyes are either over the ball or slightly to the inside. Rarely, and it's a 1 out of 1,000 that is over the ball. And normally that's it for folks that are like this. Okay. And that would be the first one. And getting you set up so that you can actually see the line. How they do that, there's different methods to make that happen. But to see the line, right? Then another one is how they would address your putter swing. Are they going to measure it with, say, a Capto or a Sam Lab or something along that lines, or even a launch monitor to see what's going on with your swing so that they know what's happening to get you a better face angle or lie angle or something along that lines. And then the last bit is marrying up the head to your swing. And well, last two things, marrying the head up the swing and getting a grip that you like so that you can put, so when you grab it, you're very, very comfortable. All righty. Sean says, thanks for the advice. Decided to use 370 reamer. Okay. So Sean was asking me whether or not to take some meat off the end of a shaft to go a parallel to fit into a 355 hosel. And I said, well, it depends on the shaft. If the shaft, uh, if the shaft has a lot of meat on it, then yeah, you could probably pull it off. If it doesn't, then no. And so he just decided to ream it and not worry about it, which is the safer way to go. Casual Golf from Washington, how are you, sir? All righty, swing it. I have mixed music in the earphones when I do the drills, rock and roll, train, AC/DC, femme fatale, falling in and out of love. And then said, look at you being eclectic. Good job. All righty. I use taper Axiom tips. There's plenty of meat on them. You did tape them. Yep, taper them. Good job. Just bake it. You're right. Just baking it is a good one. Smoking it wasn't too bad. So far, it's been pretty good. It's not as I would have thought the turkey would have taken the smoking a little bit, because it's a bird, that it would capture that flavor. Not so much. So I was really happy with that. All righty. John Kelly, any sale clubs for Black Friday? Afraid not, buddy. Since we don't really have any, they're all custom made. We really don't have that. So sorry. And so Scott's talking there. Garrett's like he agrees. I also put an Acura ICW 95 in my gap wedge. That's a nice little shaft. I do like that shaft. That's a nice little shaft. I'm seeing more of those going to fittings for me too. Sonic Sega, does a black wedge or putter do anything better than chrome? No. I can tell you that right away. No. It's got a look. Some people prefer the black because the chrome reflects and they don't like that reflectiveness, and the black is very much toned down and they can see the alignment of the putter or the wedge in order to make it go better. And keep in mind, it will wear off after a lot of use. I wouldn't know that, to be honest with you. I just wouldn't know that. To that it would add more spin, because there's just only so much spin. It's all about the coarseness of the face and the wedges. That's a USGA rule. So if it gives you more spin based on the fact that it's more coarse, then you're going to come up against the ruling. I don't necessarily know if that's true. In reality, the coarseness, they say, oh, it's the grooves. No, it's the coarseness of the face and the way that you attack the ball. I'm not so certain that's it. And there's Garrett, and he's saying the same thing. There you go. And he's agreeing maybe on some malls, but I can't think of any. Me either. Hey, he's talking hello to Frank. He's out there. I'm at work, but got a minute to take a break and check in. Love the insight. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Ryan, I have the settings of the simulator set to random, but this happened to be nice weather with a 7-mile-an-hour wind. We did have a few beverages to celebrate. Well, then there you go. Oh, they weren't see, if they're non-alcoholic, then it counts, man. That's how I would go with it. Isn't that the rule? The rule of thought is that the minute that you do that, you should be good to go. All righty. Putting is all feel, in my opinion. Well, there is some feel to it, but if you don't have the right implement, it's harder to feel. Can you bend a Scotty more than 1 degree aloft? The fitter that did the putter fitting said I should have 2 degrees stronger loft. Yeah. In a lot of cases now, again, I will warn you that if you're in their Anzer style, like the Newports, where it's a traditional bladed style, then yeah, no problem. If you're into the, there's one out there, maybe his Futura models, the Futura models where the shaft actually inserts into the head and you actually have to bend the shaft, that would be problematic. But he has like a lot of his malleted style putters. If they go in and they're not over the post, then yeah, that could be a problem. The ones that go on the post, yeah, not an issue. TJ likes to spatchcock. I tried that. A year or two ago? I think 2 years ago, and I finally found a pair of scissors that would actually do that. And you're right, it works out pretty good. That wasn't a bad turkey when we did that one. Willie, good evening from England. Well, thank you for staying up so late, sir. Any tips on how to cut down a 3-wood shaft to use in a 5-wood? Not sure if I should trim a bit from the butt and the tip. Cheers. Well, Willie, the two things. Number one, if you wanted it done so that it would play just exactly like a 3-wood, only going into the 5-wood, then you're going to have to go down to the tip section and get you some. And I would suggest somewhere around the idea of about, about 3/4 of an inch. All right. It depends on what length you're looking for. Let's just say I'm going on the idea that you have a 3-wood and you have a 5-wood of the same thing, and you're going to pull the 3-wood out and put it into the 5-wood. Now, we know the 5-wood in a lot of cases should be an inch shorter. That's not the case in a lot of these newer OEMs where they're only a half of an inch shorter. I don't agree with that, but that's what they're doing. And so if you're looking to keep it in line with what the OEM has said, you have to measure the 3-wood and then cut the tip accordingly because the head is heavier. And as the head is heavier, it's going to impact the way that the shaft responds. By cutting that little bit down, it makes it act more like the 3-wood. Now, if you're just pulling it out and you want it to play maybe a little bit softer or get a little bit more kick or something along that lines, then just put it in and tip it from the end, or cut it from the end. Oh, it's got a slant neck, Krister. You should be fine. Not a problem. All righty. Danny says, hit that like button, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. And I would appreciate that very much too. And we got down to the very last one, so let's go back. Emmanuel, thank you so very much. Peter, thank you so very much. And Dan, thank you again so very much. I appreciate it, guys, really. Willie, thanks for joining us as a first timer from being around. Jason, glad to see you got back on here. Jerry, Charlie, Matt, all the guys, PZ, Ryan, Terry, James, appreciate it. Everybody, again, I want you to, the video's coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be all on the on teaching the teacher, and it so should have some pretty good questions. Again, again, like and subscribe. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Have a good holiday, and above all, let's see your scores. Go low.